Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today we are going to be talking goal setting. So I have been super inspired by the parenting layout from the Happy Planner. I have just been eyeing it. I love the colors. I love the scheme of the entire layout of the new planner. And it's just amazing and fascinating how inspirational it can be just to watch other people on YouTube adapt and use the parenting layout. So I've seen a lot of videos where people have taken the parenting layout and converted it to their personal use. I am going to be doing something a little bit different. The very first thought that I had when I saw the parenting layout was that it would make an excellent goal planner, and so I wanted to pick up that planner in order to show you how to convert it. But then I got to thinking about it. I don't need another planner. I really don't. And so I decided to go through my stash, and we're going to talk about all of the stuff that's here, and just try to convert something that I already have in my stash to be able to meet the needs of a goals planner. And it is definitely inspired by the parenting layout, so we'll jump into it. So let's talk about supplies first. I ended up going through several different iterations, and so we'll clear out most of this pile very quickly. First of all, I'm going to be setting up my goals planner in this cute setup. I already have a cover and mini metal discs on here. There are a couple of dividers in here as well, and I didn't pull out everything, but I have several different goals like layouts or guides or journals, things that I could use to adapt. One that I didn't pull out to show you was the Jane's Agenda goals pages. I couldn't find it actually for this video, but I do have some pages inserts from Jane's Agenda that I received in a subscription box a while back that I just haven't used, and so that could definitely be something that I throw into the mix sometime in the future. But I also have in here cloth and paper dashboards, and these are gorgeous. I love the idea of having an inbox and like this cute piece to layer behind it, and so I might add this into my setup. And then, like I said, there are a couple of options for different things that I could use for goal planning. The first option that I wanted to show you was from the Happy Planner. So Happy Planner, even though the parenting layout does have a goals component, it's not really geared towards goals. Like it says, it's for parenting. I actually personally think it's better that layout seems to fit the idea of like goal planning or home management a little bit better. And so parenting is in the sense of taking care of your house and your kids, not so much for like parenting, like memory keeping for being a parent. But in terms of goal setting though, some of the things that I noticed in that parenting layout is like it's really like a monthly page that's dedicated to goals. And so one of the options that the Happy Planner has released in the past is this goals guided journal. Now, if you do searches or a search for Happy Planner guided journals, you'll see different options that are out there. This is just one that I happen to have. It is a monthly and weekly daily guided journal, and so one of the pages in there is like this one. It says week of, so it's meant to be like the check-in that you do every single week. It says monthly goal check-in 1, 2, and 3, and so you check in with 3 of your goals. There's a progress bar, and you just kind of highlight or mark how far along on that goal you've made, one big milestone that you've been able to achieve for that week, one area to improve for that week, and you again do that for 3 goals. And then it's a daily planner, essentially. It can be, at least. So you put the date in here. What is your main goal for today? Ways to help you achieve this goal. Write 3 positive daily reminders to yourself. One thing that made you feel hopeful today. List 3 wins for today. And so hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to be better about holding it up so you can kind of see all of these things. So that's that. Now that's one of the 7 daily pages. The what would I say, the prompts do change, and this one is all broken down, and so the pages are all mixed up, but just another example of one of the pages in here. It says this week's goals, write a positive quote to follow this week, important due dates this week for your goals, I'm assuming. List 3 things that can help you achieve your goal, and list 3 things that inspire you. And again, I won't flip through that entire thing. I'll try to remember to link a video of my flip through of this particular planner so you can see that. So that was one option that I pulled, and I said, okay, very quickly, I don't want it to be a weekly or daily planner. So I wanted basically to make it a quarterly and monthly planner. So I quickly, I found that just to show you, but you know, I don't want it to be like to the level of a weekly planner. And so another option that I was able to find in my stash is this Girl with Goals planner. So this is an older extension pack from the Happy Planner. I wasn't able to find it to link it for you, but if you're able to find this, I think this is great for goal setting. So this is the monthly page. It says set goals for this month, and it has set a goal, and you get 2 goals, right? So for each of the 2 goals, the first step is to set the goal. Then the second one is, what are your action steps? 3 ways I expect to achieve this goal, and you list that there. And then the third box says reflect. What worked last month and how can I carry out these strategies into this goal, right? And so it just repeats twice. This side has a top priority list, and it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you can journal about it. And then the back of this says task list, and it's just a giant to-do list with due dates, right? And so hopefully you can see that. Now the actual planner, again, I decided even before I found this planner that I wasn't doing weekly planning, but there's a second page for to-do lists, and on the back of that is what is essentially a week on 4 pages. So this is the first part of the week. Again, it's undated. It's an extension pack, so it was undated. And you get an hourly block from 7 until 7 p.m. down here, and you're able to put 2, I would say goals, right? So you would put 2 goals here, and you would just list like a daily goal or a daily task to achieve that goal. Now, that's to me like fairly standard, like productivity layout. They have released this layout in other planners, so definitely you can find this, or you can find something very similar. What makes this extension pack a little bit different is the second half of the weekly spread, and that is going to be page 3 and page 4. Here it says things to follow up on, right, for the week, and then you basically get four giant boxes. So hopefully you can see that. And then the top of the second page, or the 4th page, it says weekly focus, and you just write that in there. And there's the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th box, right? So you get 8 boxes total. Now this would have been perfect. I was thinking that this would be the route that I went, but again, this is set up to be weekly. All right, so just to show you what that looks like, it has that, then it goes into week number 2, and these are the pages for week number 2, then week number 3, the pages for week number 3, then week number 4, and then the boxes for week number 4, right? And so there's also notes pages, and then the back is the currently page, all right, which here it says upcoming projects, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, and project details. So it's meant to be like kind of like a work from home, like a business planner. And so I could definitely use that, but I would really only use 1 month. And so I didn't want to split up this planner for that reason. And then, yeah, so I actually included here these daily pages, which I will only show you one. I don't need all of them. So that was the Girl with Goals extension pack. I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen, right? So then what I decided, or like pulled out, was essentially a monthly, just undated monthly. And I thought that this could be something where I converted it to goal planning. I just feel like for goal purposes, it just might be too unguided, too unscripted, not enough structure for me to be able to do it. So I did pull this out just to show you that I have all of these supplies. I don't need any more planners. All right, so with all that being said, then what did I end up finally deciding to do? I'm actually going to set this up with you. Actually, I might do it in a separate video because this video is already getting very long. But what I decided to do was pull out these color block pages. Now, the reason I decided to go with color block is for a number of reasons, and so I wanted to explain my process. Like I said, I might record a second video doing the setup for this, just because, you know, I feel like this video is getting a little bit long already. But what I am thinking is that I can convert this color block to be the different categories of goals and use it at a monthly level, right? So the way that I am thinking of doing this is essentially allowing myself, right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. Now, some color block layouts are 6 blocks only, and so if that's the case, I personally would just pick 6 goals instead of 7. But here I have 7 blocks, and so I can each month have 7 goals. And so I will have the goals here, not here specifically, but like they would be by row. There would be 7 goals. I might just kind of put them down here. And again, like I'll do the actual setup of it. I'm just kind of talking out loud right now how I'm going to do it. And so there is space per row. Each row would be a goal. Then the second part of this conversion is essentially taking week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. And so there are 5 columns. Those 5 columns would equate to the different weeks. All right. And so that's what I'm thinking I'm going to be doing. Now, how did I get inspired by the parenting layout? So what I ended up doing was going to watch a ton of videos, and to me, in terms of goal planning from the parenting layout, the big thing was that monthly page that occurred, or like that is right after the monthly spread. I'll put a screenshot of it so you can see what it looks like. So from that monthly spread, or that like the goals, family goals section, there were 7 goals that were listed. So the 7 goals were family, friends, home, work, health, fun, and finances. Now, very easily, I could do just that, right? This row would be family, this row would be friends, this row would be home, this row, 4th row would be work, this one would be health, this one would be fun, this one would be finances. Then I would basically every week have goals set up for each of the 7 areas, and this would be the week 1 goals for each of the 7, week 2 goals, week 3 goals, week 4 goals, week 5 goals. Use this space just to take notes, have to-do lists, things like that. Okay, so that was what I was thinking. Now the thing is, with the way that I process or like think about goals, I already personally have goals or have planners for all of those, well, most of those different sections. And so just as an example, for work, if I have a work goal, I would not keep it in a goals planner. Like for me, what would make the most sense is to just have that as a vision in my work planner. And so I don't necessarily need to have a work goal in a goals planner. I would want my work goal to be in my work planner. So hopefully that makes sense. And so what that led me to think was I need to really simplify or dedicate or do some adjustment in terms of thinking about the goals. And what I decided was that instead of focusing on like me personally, I would focus on family goals, just like the parenting layout indicated, right? And so instead of, for example, thinking about work goals for just for me, I should maybe be broader and think about the work goal as being learning related or school related. So what are some of the family goals that we have for May that could be set up as weekly goals that are just for Sophia or for Rose? What are some of the things that we want them to develop as children that are age appropriate for them? All right. And so that's kind of what I was thinking. And again, that it was part of the inspiration of the parenting layout was really recapturing the idea of goals, but not just personal goals, not just goals for myself, goals for my entire family. So with that in mind, then what I decided to do was pull these pages out. These are what I'm going to be using. It is set up, or at least I will set it up for the entire month. And so I do plan to track by week, but it's not a full on like where I'm doing it like an entire weekly spread for my goals. And so I think this kind of condensing of my goals will make sense. I do want to try to touch each of my 7 goals every single week, so all of these blocks should be filled out. But if I don't do it in a week, that'd be totally fine too. So we're gonna turn this then, and again, I'll do a separate video setting it up, I think. But one thing that I ended up doing in the process of examining like all the different aspects of goals that I could like consider for my family is I ended up going to Moxy Life, and so I will link this in the description so you can find it. There are several free printables that Moxy Life releases that are directly for goal setting, and I did print out several of these just so you can see it, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to be taking this information and just kind of converting it to my goal planner. But this one is just kind of like a things to consider list, which I thought was amazing. So their 8 categories are a little bit different from the Happy Planner. So for Moxy Life, there's personal, there's fun and recreation, which was on the Happy Planner goals. There's work and learning, that was also on the Happy Planner. There's family and relationships. So for Happy Planner, this was split into 2. It was family and friends. Then there's a health and wellness, which was also on the Happy Planner list. This one was not on the Happy Planner. It's spiritual and personal growth, which I do like that. And then there's financial, which the Happy Planner had, and then physical environment, which the Happy Planner didn't have. So all that to say, there are several different options for what I'm going to put in here. I haven't yet decided exactly what I'm going to set, and here's the benefit of doing it myself. I'm not locked into the categories every single month. I can change it up month by month if I want to. So for May, I might pick from the list for Moxy Life, and then for June, I might pick from the Happy Planner list. So it's a little bit more fluid in that sense. So a couple of other printouts, free printables from Moxy Life. This one is monthly goals. I was thinking about using this actually, but to me, this feels good, but it doesn't allow me to track when I do these things. And so having it in like a planner format, like I discussed here, to me felt like a little bit more my style. But there's definitely a monthly goals one where you could just list your goals and then just check it off when you're done. All right, and they are by the 8 categories that Moxy Life has, which I read to you earlier. I did, by the way, print this out at 82%, and so, you know, once I trim it, it will be classic size. Another one that I might do actually is the compass assessment. So Moxy Life, the Moxy Life compass is an important tool that allows you to basically track where you are. And so I won't go into detail about this, but I did want to show it to you. So this is what that looks like, and it gives you instructions for how to do it. But again, it's the 8 categories that I read to you earlier. It also includes in the compass assessment the scoring system, so you can take a look at that and be able to score. And again, I'll show you briefly, but these are free printables again, so you can absolutely check them out on the website and download them for yourself. This is page 2 of the assessment scoring. Yeah, and then the last thing I printed, just thinking that Sophia, again, like if I'm focusing on family goals, one of the things that Moxy Life had was a goals sheet for kids. All right, Sophia is 8, Rose is 2, so I don't think Rose is setting goals, but Sophia might want to set her own goals. So this one is goals for kids. It says my goals for this year, and the 6 categories here are slightly different from the one from like the 8 for Moxy Life. So for the kids, it says school, family, home, friends, extracurricular, and fun. And so again, there are multiple options, and of course you can absolutely Google different categories of goals and pick categories that make sense for you. And like I said, I am going to be taking some time to convert this to be my goals planner. I did talk about how I'm going to be doing that, but I think a separate video might be warranted just so you can see it, visualize it as I work through it. And so I do want to take the time to think about the 7 goals that I'm setting up here. And so I'm going to do that, and in the process, I'll finalize my 7 goals, and I actually probably will sit down with Sophia and with my husband and talk with them about like what family goals we want and which categories of goals we want, so their input will be included in putting this together. I don't want it to be my own goals and only my goals, and so I will talk to them about it, and we'll try this out for May. And so like I said, this video was probably longer than I thought. I wanted to do the setup in this video actually, but I think it's already a little bit long, and so I'm going to pause here. But my goal was basically to take the things that I have already and convert it and be inspired by the Happy Planner and the new parenting layout, but use the supplies that I have. And so this is my conversion of a color block layout into a goals planner, and so it at least was the talk through of it. So I'll actually do the conversion in a separate video. So if you're interested in that, please do let me know. Leave a comment and I'll link the video for you once that gets posted. It might be like a week or 2 before I get to it, just because I want to have time to talk to my family about what they think should happen in May. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, my goal, use my supplies, and so this is how I'm doing it. This means that I'm not purchasing the parenting layout planner, even though I love it. I think it's gorgeous. I'm going to use the things that I have in my space already to do the things that I need it to do, and so in this case I'm setting it up as a family goals planner. Video 2 will be coming up soon where I do the setup, so I hope you enjoyed this video in the meantime. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.